everybody, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing very well. For today's video, I probably have one of my most requested videos ever. Like ever. Whenever I post or I ask you guys what videos you would like to see from me, this one is always up there with what you guys want to see. And I was putting it off for a long time just because these videos take so much time. I'm just procrastinating it and I'm just film these. I don't know why I was putting them off for so long because I actually really enjoy them. So I don't really know what that's about. And today we are doing part 3 of the Pretty Little Liars book series. So this is where I go through a deep dive of the books for you guys, because if you didn't know, Pretty Little Liars started as a book before it was a TV show. So we have previously done, there's 4 different arcs in the book series, so 4 kind of different series, I guess, if you want to like structure it that way, or like seasons, sorry. We are currently on arc number 3, which is what we're going to be talking about today. So if you haven't watched the other 2 videos, probably go and do that first rather than watch this, because you'll have like no context. Yeah, I'm just gonna get straight into it. The books get crazy. The books, I think, are a lot crazier than the show, which is like saying something, I think. I don't know, I think they're like really cool. A lot of the storylines in the books I would have actually loved if they were in the TV show. I think they also add a lot of character depth to the liars, and the liars are a lot more caught up in their own actions than on the show. I think on the show, obviously, they have their own actions and their own consequences and things like that. But I feel like nothing is like, I mean, severe things do happen on the show. But I mean, like, the books are just intense. And I think the liars end up in a lot more dangerous situations because of, like, their own actions, like I said. So we're going to get into it. Also, there's no green screening this time, because green screening, oh my God. Editing a green screen is actually the most... I'm not even gonna get into it. I'm not even, it's painful. The first book in arc 4 of the books is called arc 3 of the book. Let me start that again. The first book in the 3rd arc of the book series is called Twisted. If you haven't watched the last video, obviously go do that, but we ended it with Allison and the Courtney situation, which I actually really enjoyed. So we're kind of continuing from that. So the girls haven't really had a text or anything in a while, because obviously A is like now like gone. We're kind of exploring A coming back, but not just yet, because the books come back and the girls are enjoying spring break. They're actually in Jamaica, but whilst they are there, they meet a blonde girl who very much catches their eye because they resemble Allison, obviously, and the whole Courtney thing too. This girl goes by the name of Tabitha. Tabitha is a very interesting topic, which, as we talk about the books more, you'll understand why. But keep an eye on the Tabitha situation is all I would say. But they are very stuck in the thing of there's something very familiar about her. It feels very much Allison-esque type of vibes, but they're just so focused in on her. A year after this spring break, the girls have very much drifted apart, but it's very clear that something happened on the spring break in Jamaica, maybe with the Tabitha girl, but we obviously don't know what this is yet. But it's very clear something did happen, specifically, yeah, between them and the Tabitha girl. But regardless of this, the girls are going through their own issues individually, kind of more just like becoming a teenager and dealing with that type of years. Do I miss being a teenager? Yes and no. I feel like when I was a teenager, I'm 22 in like a month, so I'm not like old or anything. I've only just come out of my teen years. But the years I've experienced in my 20s so far, I'm hoping someone is going to pop out and tell me I've just been living a dream or something. A bad dream, a nightmare, actually. Not good. Do I miss being a teenager? Yes and no. No, because like, wow, you go through so much, actually. Like, the brain, when you're a teenager, oof. Oh, girl. She's not nice to you. She's not even nice to you in your 20s. But I feel like I miss the energy I had when I was a teenager in terms of like, everything was so exciting and everything was like so like, I don't know. That's me in my depressed era, if you care. They've also obviously not heard from A within this year since the whole Alison and Courtney thing had happened. So they, you know in like the show, they're kind of like, oh, thank God, A's gone. And then another one appears around the corner. It's like those vibes right now. Emily, and this is crazy because of the Emily that we're given in the TV show. Emily, when she was in Jamaica, was feeling very under the weather. She was throwing up a lot of the time. And if any of my Wattpad girls are here from back in the day, throwing up, we all know what that means around here. Emily actually was pregnant and has a baby with Isaac, which is crazy, actually, because the Emily that we're given from like from the TV show, sorry, she can only dream of giving a story like this. This is actually like, wow. So straight away we're getting into things have happened. It's very, very serious around here. And yeah, it's very intense kind of from the start. It was assumed she had some type of food poisoning when it was happening, but like I said, me and my Wattpad girls, she also quits swimming because of this too, because obviously it would be like very revealing body-wise and very obvious too, but she doesn't tell anyone about this. She spends the summer with her sister, so her sister was kind of the only one to know until she tells her friend Chloe. Chloe is a new girl in town and she moved into the Kavanaugh house. Now, in reference to the TV show, obviously in the TV show, Jenna and Toby stay alive through the whole thing. However, in the books, Jenna is dead because I'm trying to remember, I think Alison killed her. Yep, and Toby unalived himself. So both of the Kavanaugh siblings are dead at this point, which is crazy actually. But just because like the difference to the TV show, like, because Jenna and Toby through the whole show are like really prominent figures, so I think it's crazy that like this point into the books that like they're both just like dead. Sorry. I think it's like I think it's crazy. Regardless, I do actually think Jenna should have died in the TV show, if anyone cares for my opinion. But TV show wise, I don't know, Jenna was a bit messy. I feel like anyone could have killed her. Maybe Melissa could have been cool, actually. I don't know. Regardless, do I think Jenna should have survived the whole show? No. Okay, so the Kavanaugh parents obviously wanted to kind of get out of town. Girl, so would I. No, because everyone just needs to leave Rosewood at this point. It's like whatever the town is called in Vampire Diaries, Mystic Falls. No, that's the bar, isn't it? Whatever, I've not watched Vampire Diaries in a long time since I finished it because it traumatized me. Girl, move. Get out of town. Move, guys. So the Kavanaugh parents actually were correct in this instance. Move. Please. So Chloe and Emily hit it off really, really well and become friends. Chloe confides to Emily that she had a bit of a drinking problem before, which is her big secret, basically. However, they don't really stay friends for long because, surprise, surprise, guys, you're not going to be shocked at what I say here. Surprise, surprise, everyone. Chloe's dad is, I can't say the words, I don't think, but he's an older man who is a creep. So are we shocked? Clap if you are shocked. Yeah, so there's another one in Rosewood that is weird and creepy. But he basically tells Emily that he can't get her a swimming scholarship, but he ends up actually getting her one, but as kind of like he thinks it's like a thank you. Girl, what on earth? He kind of makes a move on Emily, and Chloe is kind of like that thing that happens with Hannah and Arya in the show when Zach hits on Hannah. Chloe's very victim blaming, and she blames it on Emily when Emily tells her about it. So they don't really stay friends, but obviously they have each other's like secret. So Emily begs her to not say anything about the baby, and Chloe says, okay, I'll keep your secret if you keep the secret about my dad being a creep. Chloe, like, girl, like, I don't know, if someone came to me, God forbid, and said, by the way, your dad was a creep towards me, although I wouldn't want to believe it because that's my dad and I love him, you have to kind of look at different perspectives here and be like, okay, what happened? But also the fact that Chloe is kind of like, yeah, okay, he did that, but like, can you keep it a secret? Oh my god. Oh, the audacity of it, actually. I would be fuming. Are you joking? A then comes back. Surprise, surprise. A comes back and there's secrets galore. There are secrets galore. Like, the girls are screwed, actually. I don't mean to be the bearer of bad news here, guys, but the girls, oof, they better move. We're moving on to Spencer. Her mum is dating someone new. No Mr. Hastings in the book or in the TV show. Mr. Penny Thistle, and the way they introduce him, actually, maybe Mr. Hastings could come back. They introduce him, they kind of make us dislike him, kind of. But he has 2 children, one called Amelia, who is the younger sister, and a called Zach, who is a year older than Spencer. Spencer and Zach end up hitting it off right away, and there's flirtation going on there, which is very, very weird because at this point they're kind of not step siblings yet, but it's like along that, it's going there, you know what I mean? Spencer's not that much different from the show. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, the show puts Spencer, obviously we have Spencer being academic, she's very, very smart, she has her moments, love that for her, girl boss, amazing, but when it comes to boys and relationships, Spencer's not really responsible there. I feel like that carries on through the books, that the difference there is not uncanny, should we say. Spencer tries to kiss Zach, and however, we discover, like Olivia Rodrigo said, every guy I like is gay. Zach is gay. Your son is gay. So that's, she's like, oh, Spencer's mum and Mr. Penny, what's his name? Penny Thistle, announce they're engaged. So they have a engagement party thing. At the party, Zach and Spencer get drunk and they pass out kind of in the same bed. And the next morning, Mr. Penny Thistle walks in on them and he's panicking. He's like, oh my god, this has not happened. And Spencer tells Zach that she thinks the best way to kind of sort this out is by telling his dad that he's gay. So when he tells his dad, instead of his dad being relieved about Spencer and Zach not being a thing and Zach being gay, he's just angry at the thought of his son being gay. So obviously Zach's not really too happy about the situation and about Spencer, and his dad is not happy about the sexuality stuff, which is like, oh my god, girl, grow up. Your son is gay. So what? Oh my god, get over it. Get over it, actually, because, like, oh my god, it's annoying me at where society is regarding that still. And it's just, guys, not to get too political, too in the real world, society's regressing so much regarding sexuality and gender, but also, like, classes and money and race, and it's just really frustrating because I feel like a few years ago we were not in an amazing spot, but I feel like we had made progress, and like now we're not, and this is just reminding me of that, and it's just, we're regressing. But anyways, Mr. Pennythistle is sending his son to military school because he's gay. Veronica tells Spencer that it's not their place to intervene. It kind of is. I don't know, I feel like if you're about to marry this person and make the commitment of also taking on their children, I think it kind of is your place to step in and talk about things as adults and not as children, and actually listen to each other and start to accept things. I don't know. The Veronica in the book is a bit different to the show, and I don't know. I prefer the show Veronica here, but I don't know. I feel like it is your place. Like, if I was getting married to someone, first of all, we have different opinions regarding, oh my god, I'm getting really bad deja vu at the moment, sorry. If you have different opinions on something so big, you also need to take a step back in your engagement and relationship and be like, is this the right thing? You know what I mean? So if I was getting married to someone, first of all, I wouldn't let it get as far to an engagement if we had different opinions like that. But if it came out that we had different opinions like that, I would evaluate things and, like, talk it out. So I feel like it is her place to kind of intervene on things there. Anyways, so Hannah's dad is running for state senate. Why does that sound weird? State? I don't know. That sounds weird in my head. Anyways, obviously this is different because in the show, Veronica ends up running for that, but we'll get to that. The family filmed an advert for the campaign, and it turns out the audiences respond really, really well to Hannah as they find her more relatable than Kate, who seems to be too perfect. Great. People loving my girl Hannah. Yeah, absolutely, girl. I'm the same, actually, which is why I think when I was watching Pretty Liars, I kind of gravitated towards Hannah a bit more, just because I feel like she's very relatable in terms of we have gone through kind of the same body confidence issues, popularity stuff, friendship stuff. I mean, not the extreme of Mona, of course, not for me. But I kind of liked that she wasn't, I guess, perfect or whatever. So I totally get it. Whereas, like, characters like, I mean, none of the liars are really, really perfect. But I feel like Spencer kind of had her life together for a lot of the show. I mean, of course, not the entire show. But Spencer, for the beginning, kind of had her life together. Arya was, I don't know, I didn't gravitate towards Arya that much, really. I just didn't really find her relatable at all, and neither did I with Emily, really. So, yeah, Hannah, I'm on the same wavelength with the two audiences. At the taping of the advert, Hannah meets a photographer guy who says that she would make a really, really good model. So she decides to meet up with him and get photos taken. Mike and Hannah are dating at this point. And Mike gets a bit jealous here because he says he doesn't think that it's a good idea. So they end up breaking up, which is, like, really, really sad because Hannah goes through a lot relationship wise, but also Mike and Hannah in the books were, like, really, really good for each other. However, things don't pan out well afterwards. So maybe the man was right. It's a bad day. It's a bad day when a man is right. Do you know what I mean? It's a bad day when she ends up going back to the guy's studio and her dress ends up kind of falling off her, and the photographer guy ends up taking pictures of her in her bra and underwear, and this leads him to blackmail Hannah with the photos, and obviously her dad's campaigning to be state senate, and obviously if these photos got revealed, everything would be bad for her dad. And it's not a bad thing for her dad, like I hope things come crashing down for him, but I mean for Hannah it would not be a great experience, because Hannah's dad is already very much pro Kate and anti Hannah. This coming out would lead that more to anti Hannah, you know, and we love Hannah around here. Hannah decides to pay the guy off using money from her dad's campaign, and she ends up blaming someone who works on the campaign for the missing money. Ooh, can I defend her on this one? It's a bad day. The man being right, Hannah actually kind of, I don't know. No, but she kind of, she had to. There was collateral damage, yes. But she had to. She thinks that she's got away with it. But A pops up, girl. A is back. A obviously is ready very much to pounce on this and to expose Hannah for this. We will come back. Arya and Noel are together at this point. I could have warmed to that relationship in the TV show if it would have happened, actually. I'm not against it. But the Noel at the start of the show, not the Noel at the end of the show. Noel has an exchange student arriving called, oh my god, what's her name? I've lost it. Claudia. Arya's very anxious about this because her and Noel haven't really slept together yet. And this is like a dashing blonde girl. So she's obviously very anxious about this taking place, about this happening. Things kind of go well at first. Arya and Claudia kind of, you know, get along very, very well. However, Arya finds out that Claudia has been texting her friends back home about Arya and Noel. And in this, she says that Noel is too good for Arya. So immediately, alarm bells. The anxiety that she was feeling raises, and is very much valid about everything. And Claudia is trying to steal her boyfriend. So, bad situation here. The girls end up fighting when the Calm Boys invite Arya and Claudia to go skiing with them. And Claudia explains to Arya that she is going to sleep with Noel. Yeah. The audacity of it. If I was with someone and a girl said that, no, because we're in a sticky situation. We are in a sticky situation at this point, actually. Then things get very intense. Things get very, very intense, actually. The girls end up fighting whilst they're on a ski lift. Oh my god, this gets very intense. And Arya accidentally pushes her off the ski lift. Now, one thing about me. If this was in a TV show, my Arya is A theories would have been fed. Absolutely would have been fed with this, because Arya does have the tendencies to be violent. This is very intense. Like I said, things in the book pick up very, very much. Things are getting out of hand, actually. Claudia overall ends up being okay. She broke her leg, but everything else is kind of fine. She's not dead or anything. Remembers what happened very, very clearly. So things between Claudia, Noel and Arya are not looking too good at this point. Things are a little bit messy about this. Spencer then texts Arya being like, okay, we need to face everything that happened in Jamaica. So we're like, okay. Things shift quite quickly from the skiing thing. When I say things get intense, guys, things get very intense. So listen to this, right? After the girls met Tabitha on the holiday in Jamaica, she invited them to a crow's nest lookout point at the resort. Okay. The girls decide to go, and when they go, they find out that Tabitha is actually Alison in disguise, and she brought them there to finish what she had started. Obviously, she had tried to kill the girls previously. Before this happens, however, Arya pushes Tabitha over the edge first. Tabitha, Allison. Oh, things are intense right now. The girls then scramble to the bottom of like the cliff, so like the beach that's like on the bottom of a cliff, to find out that the body of Tabitha / Allison is gone. Yeah. Things are messy. They're very, very messy. A year later, there's now a breaking news story about a body being found in the water in Jamaica. The body belonged to a girl who really was called Tabitha, and the police rule her death as an accident. They now know they did not kill Allison, but they killed an actual girl called Tabitha. And A reminds them of this, tells the girls that she is just really getting things started regarding, you know, being back and everything. So yeah, book 1 of arc 3, very, very intense. A lot went down, a lot happened. Oh my god, I wish this happened in the show. Oh my god, I wish this happened in the show. This storyline would have been so good, because we don't know yet actually, was it Allison, was it Tabitha, what's going on? Kind of like a Bethany situation, but wow, I wish this had have been done in the books, because in the show, because this is like really, really good. So then we move on to the next book. Okay, so next we are moving on to the next book, which is Ruthless, which is the 10th book in the series, second book in the arc. It's revealed in the last summer that Spencer was taking AP courses at Penn. She also began taking speed pills called Easy A that Phineas was giving her as a way to deal with her studies. Very similar to the book situation that Spencer went through. To concentrate on her studies, she would, you know, go down that route. So Spencer gets arrested for possession of these things, and she actually calls up Hannah to help frame her roommate Kelsey instead, so that Spencer could get off and not be in trouble for that. Spencer gets a role in Lady Macbeth in the school play, and it's really funny here because it's so Macbeth, but everything kind of takes a toll on Spencer. She's going a little bit crazy, and she starts having hallucinations of Tabitha and Kelsey, which is so interesting, because if you don't know Macbeth, Lady Macbeth ends up having hallucinations after she kills someone, and so does Macbeth, but Lady Macbeth also towards the end. I studied it during my school, and I actually really like Macbeth. Sounds so boring of me, but I really, really like it. So I really liked how they kind of did the same thing for Spencer. Emily accidentally meets Kelsey at a party, and there's an instant connection there. She and Kelsey grow very, very close, and obviously Spencer doesn't like this, because Spencer had set her up and they don't really know yet, so there's the risk of the secrets getting out. And obviously with A back, the risk of secrets getting out is much, much higher. Spencer is quite mean to Emily and kind of makes her remarks about her and Allison and the love that she had for Allison. Emily actually tells Kelsey that Spencer had set her up very, out of anger for the drug possession. Kelsey actually then ODs and attempts to throw herself into the quarry where Mona died, but Emily saves her and Kelsey is sent to the preserve for treatment. Such a sad story for Kelsey, and like I said, the girls in the books, their actions have a lot more consequences than I feel like in the show, and I think this is one that really proves that for us, because what Spencer did here was like not something that you can really brag about. So, while visiting Kelsey, the girls realised that Tabitha was also a patient at the preserve and was the same age as Alison and Courtney. So obviously the situation's heating up a little bit. Because we find out some things later on too, which we will get to, but there's a lot of mess regarding Alison, Courtney, and Tabitha's connection specifically. Yeah, we'll get to the fun stuff later because it's very, very interesting, and it's very, I'm gonna say it's very Mary Drake and Jessica coded, to give you a little spoiler there. It's very interesting. Anyways, so Hannah's father then brings Hannah on to help more. He's running for Senator State. So he kind of brings her to help with promotional things and stuff like that. She meets a boy named Liam who she falls for, despite knowing he's the son of her father's political opponent. They break up and she learns he has been seeing multiple other girls while dating her. So she then also gets back with Mike as well. So Arya is dumped by Noel, and Arya is taking it very, very hard. So she tries to go back with Ezra. Oh my god. Get this man away from me. If I have to read his name again and again, I'm actually gonna go crazy. Because I don't like this man in the show or the books. And if I had it my way, he would be in jail. So, Ezra Fitz, don't ever. In my books, you're... But she actually ends up getting back into her relationship with Noel. And we actually discover Ezra and Claudia. She's an exchange student that Noel is housing. And she's trying to get Noel off Arya. She discovers that Ezra and Claudia were being intimate in the closet after Arya and Ezra got into a minor argument. So Ezra, no, Ezra, let's talk. What's up? Because Ezra, don't annoy me, because you've already annoyed me plenty. Do you know what I mean? And I don't want you and Arya together. I don't. But you doing this on top of other things, girl, don't annoy me like this. Do not annoy me. So the liars attempt to come clean regarding all of their secrets. So A doesn't have anything on them anymore. They actually tried to do this multiple times in the books. But A kind of stops them with that. But there's some successes here and there. A becomes more violent, shoving Emily down a hill at Stockbridge Trail, and A sends Spencer an email of Tabitha on the beach with a head injury, indicating that A was the one who disposed of Tabitha's body. A taunts the liars, stating that they would never discover A's true identity. That was kind of a quick run through of this book, because we're getting on to other things more bigger and important with the next few books. So stay tuned, because things get so intense. So intense. It's crazy. Let's move on to the next book in Arc 3. So the next book in Arc 3 is called Stunning, and Emily is kind of the main focus in this book specifically. There's not really main characters in the books, they all are, but a lot of focus is on Emily. But there's also little bits of drama from the liars kind of thrown in. There's some really ridiculous things that happen too. But to start off, Arya finds out that Noel's dad does drag, and A threatens to expose it unless she breaks up with Noel. However, we find out that Noel knows about it, and he's so fine with it. That was kind of a fun one, I think, because there was so much drama regarding that, but it's Noel knew and didn't care. I quite like Noel in the books, maybe. Kind of. I think he's a totally different character than who he is in the TV shows, which is really, really nice, because I don't like him in the TV show. I liked him at the start, but then after that, it just came crashing down, and then obviously he helped Cece with the dollhouse, which was not fun at all. Just before Hannah and Mike get back together, Hannah actually stalks his new girlfriend. and Mike's girlfriend is called Colleen, and she's been hiding a big secret, and the secret is that she did an embarrassing commercial ad, and Hannah was going to share it with everyone, but Hannah has a change of heart, realizing that she didn't want to be a bully, and instead A shares the video of her stalking Mike and Colleen, making her kind of like the crazy person here. So Hannah has a bad heart and a good heart, and ends up being I don't know, Hannah's heart and mind, I think, are in two different places. I think her mind is very caught up in selfish acts, but I think when push comes to shove, her heart tries to be in a very good place. It's not all the time. There's things that happen later on which are not good, and I can't defend, even though I will try to defend her in most cases. But yeah, Hannah's in a weird place with her mind and her heart. I think she gets caught up in a lot of emotional turmoil and trauma that she clearly has gone through, that we know she has gone through. So yeah, it's a tricky one. It is a tricky one, but regardless of that, Mike and Hannah do end up getting back together, like I said in the previous book kind of summary thing for you. They do end up getting back together, and they go through, they're very on and off, Hannah and Mike, because there's other things that happen too, but they get back together quite a lot of the time. Spencer makes like pot brownies for her like Princeton group, and she gives it to this girl who, the girl has them, and then Spencer feels very uncomfortable about the girl having them, and anyway, A ends up calling the police on these guys, and they think that it was Spencer who did it. So Spencer apologizes to the girl, and the girl invites her to a potluck, and Spencer thinks that she means to bring food with drugs in it. So there's confusion here. Spencer's obviously going through what she goes through on the show with drugs and addiction and that type of thing. But yeah, she's very confused at this stage by what things mean. I think Spencer is also trying to like be popular with kind of like the, you know, the clever kids in the situation, and it's not really it's working, but it's not working, you know what I mean? But yeah, Spencer's having a rough time, I think, trying to figure out where she belongs as well. I think that's also happening. I don't really think that Spencer belongs with the liars in the books, I'm not gonna lie. Spencer in the show, you can kind of see where they all kind of like fit together and like belong together, whereas Spencer in the books, I think, feels much more out of place and not really with the girls. The girls in general in the books, they are much less, they're less closer than they are in the TV show. In the TV show, they're very, very close with each other, but in the books, they actually still quite dislike each other quite a bit, and it's only A that has like brought them together out of like force, but in general they're not like close like they are in the show. This plan doesn't go to plan, and A swaps some like brownies and laces them with LSD, which is obviously like very much more stronger than weed. I'm not gonna go into my experience, but I've not had LSD. I mean, experience with other things. It's very, very much stronger. But yeah, regardless of that. This obviously is showing that A is a lot more dangerous here. There's a lot more intent. This A is very on it. And a lot more dangerous with it. You know what I mean? This is a drug that, you know, kills a lot of people. So yeah, it's very intense. Then we move on to Emily, and we learn what happened with Emily and her baby. Emily had promised a woman called Gail her baby after Gail offered her a lot of money, but Emily ended up changing her mind because she seemed like a psychopath. Emily ends up calling her friends to help her get the baby to the original adoptive parents Emily had chosen before Gail. But Gail shows back up into Emily's life. Gail has moved into town recently to help fund Tom Merrin's Senate state campaign. The girls get suspicious of her that she's A. When I tell you the girls suspect everyone, that's very similar to the TV show, which is like really, really funny. The girls suspect a lot of people for being A. I kind of get it because you're very on you're very they're very on edge, right? So I kind of get it. But I also think it's really, really funny because they accuse everyone of being A. It's really, really funny. Regardless, they obviously think the motive is because Emily didn't give her the baby, which I feel like would be a crazy motive for being A. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, anyways, things with Gale heat up very, very quickly because at the end of the book, A lures all of the girls to Gale's house. A says that Gale has the baby, but A actually ends up killing Gale here. Yeah, things heat up very, very quickly regarding that. And like I said, A is a lot more vicious, a lot more dangerous here. This A definitely has more intent. It's definitely the same shift like in the TV show with Mona and Cece. Mona was still obviously did things but was a lot less intense than Cece's A, whereas this, it's kind of the same shift here between Mona's A and this A. So yeah, things pick up very, very quickly regarding that, and that obviously rules Gale out to be A because Gale is dead. So there we go. However, connections are still being made because they find out that Gale was actually Tabitha's stepmom. You see how things are like intertwining? Things are going on, and there was one point where Gale went to Emily being like, I want what I'm owed, and we're assumed to think it's the baby or the money. However, now looking at it, I'm kind of like, did she know that the girls had something to do with Tabitha's death? Which is very interesting, and the fact that A killed Tabitha's stepmom as well makes me wonder whether Tabitha's stepmom knew more about what happened that night, and A wanted to cover it up. That's very, very interesting. Then Tabitha's dad arrives at Gale's funeral, and he actually announces that he got an autopsy done on his daughter, and originally it was an accidental death. It was ruled an accidental death with alcohol poisoning involved. However, he has found out through another autopsy that it was in fact a murder. So he's obviously looking for answers surrounding everything, and I think Gale's death really makes things more for him like, I'm going to get answers. He's very, on it with that. So yeah, the next book, which is called Burned. Okay guys, this is hilarious. I just had to share it with you. I'm editing this video that you're seeing now. Congratulations. Anyways, so when I was filming this video, I had a little bit of a mare, and I filmed the first book, all good, all fun, all fresh, done. Then, instead of going to the second book, I went to the fourth book by accident. I don't know why, I don't know how I got there, because I'm fully aware I've read the books, I know where it comes. Nonetheless, I did book 4. So when I was editing it, I was like, this book is not second. This is not. So I spent an hour editing, we'll say 45 minutes, editing book 4. And I realised afterwards, I was like, hold on, this is book 4. This is not now. Anyways, then my editing software had a mare because I tried to copy and paste everything that I edited, and it lost it. It lost all the footage. I spent so long on that footage. Anyways, so then my editing time got extended and doubled to what it normally is, and I've been here since 5 p.m. and it's now 9 p.m. Anyways, I thought I would just say this is book 4 in arc 3, because I didn't mention it, because when I filmed this I said it was book 2. It's not book 2, guys. This person here, she's a liar. She lied to you. Anyways, just thought I would share that because I don't know how I got there, but I did get there. I don't know how or why. But yeah, carry on. I hope you're enjoying. So obviously, like I said, a lot of the girls had secrets about the summer that we slowly learn through reading, finding out a bunch of stuff. So in this one, we find out Hannah's big summer secret is that she was driving somewhere home after having a drink at the bar, and she ended up being run off the road and crashing. Hannah panicked because she obviously has a history with crashing cars and being drunk and things like that. So she calls the rest of the girls and she asked them to move the girl who was in the passenger seat into the driver's seat, so it looks like the girl had done it rather than Hannah. You know how I said how I can defend Hannah in every situation? I got ahead of myself. I did get ahead of myself. Because I can't. I can't actually, like, at all. The girl that was put into the the driving seat is Naomi's cousin, and Naomi is one of the girls Hannah is she's friends with, but like they fall out quite a bit, but then friends again, so it's kind of, I don't know, like, that's just the friendship, right? And Naomi was kind of the person when Hannah was kind of going through the popularity stuff, though, like, she was one of those friends, you know what I mean? Naomi was also friends with the real Allison before Courtney took over and became friends with the liars. So therefore, the connection makes the girls' new prime A suspect to be Naomi. So therefore, with everything, the girls think Naomi could possibly be the new A. And the girls also say at this point that they think A is more than one person, possibly a helper. Obviously, this makes a lot of sense for us that have watched the show, because the show had a whole A team after Mona. God, there was everyone. Paige, Lucas, Melissa, Shauna, Jenna, Noel, Cece. Well, Cece was obviously A. Sarah. I'm probably missing so much more, but there's a lot of people in the A team, so the girls are kind of on that path right now of like maybe there is more than one person being A. Emily gets into a new relationship with someone called Jordan. Like I said, kind of in the TV show, Emily moves on relationship wise very, very quickly. That's why in the TV show I could never really latch on to Emily or her relationships, because every second it felt like they were changing. And I loved Maya because that felt very like slow burn and it kind of felt good for Emily. But then after that, like I said, Emily moves on a lot, and I didn't like the writing for Emily in the show regarding that, and it's kind of the same in the book. Regarding Emily. Jordan is a wanted thief and she wants Emily to run away with her, and Emily almost considers doing it, but A calls the cops before they get a chance to escape. That's crazy, actually. A is in it deep. A is not playing around. A does not play around in the books. There were instances with A in the TV show where, not that I didn't feel like A was dangerous, but I feel like, I don't know, the dollhouse was very intense, of course, but there were some instances where I'm like, Cece's A was obviously a lot more intense and extreme, but there was still some instances where A was just kind of like there and like not necessarily doing much. But A in the books is very on it. A is very, very intense when it comes to the books. Spencer is crushing on a new guy called Reefer, who is like a stoner guy that she met in Princeton. But Naomi, who, like I said, is a suspect at this time, is also crushing on this guy. So you can see where things are going, you know what I mean? There's a little bit of drama here and there with Naomi and Spencer trying to fight it out for this guy and steal this guy from one another. So that happens a little while in the books there. Naomi was also doing weird things to Spencer, which seemed like things A would do, which obviously enhanced the theory that the girls had about Naomi being A at this point. So Spencer slipped on oil in front of Reefer, and Naomi also put gum in her hair. A lot of it was targeted to Spencer only, though. Not necessarily like the girls. So that's where the theory kind of falls flat a little bit, because obviously that drama is going to happen with Spencer and Naomi because they're trying to get the same guy, not necessarily because she's A. You know what I mean? So Arya's a messy girl. Arya is a messy girl because she is kind of intertwined with Tabitha's ex at this point. Arya kind of feels that because the girls might have accidentally killed Tabitha, if she's nice to the ex, it might make things a little bit better. That's girl maths for sure. Don't think that would happen, but go off regardless. So Arya's very, very messy. Arya's hugely messy, actually. At least it kind of goes along with the TV show because Arya's messy there too. So at least that's a thing. But Noel gives Arya a necklace which he found on the beach, and it turns out to be Tabitha's, which is insane, by the way. And there's also a photo of Tabitha and Alison together in the necklace, which proves they knew each other and were friendly with each other. So, and there's also the mystery around how did Noel get this? Was this by A? Did A kind of plant it onto Noel because A is very, very messy? Or was it Noel? We don't really know at this point. Anyway, regarding Tabitha's ex, he says that he wants to talk to Arya about things, but Arya kind of freaks out thinking that he is A and could be the person that is working with Naomi to get back at the girls for what they did to Tabitha. Once they think he's dangerous and he's trying to talk to Arya, she freaks out and runs away from him. He seems to act very weird when he sees Arya's necklace, which obviously, I don't know here why the girls were shocked he would be freaked out by the necklace. Of course he's going to be freaked out by the necklace because he's going to be like, where did you get that from? And very much it's his ex-girlfriend's necklace. You know what I mean? So it's very, very weird. So then there's a ridiculous idea brought up. The girls kind of come to the conclusion that A must have planted the necklace on Noel to, you know, remind the girls that A is very much here and lurking and knows everything about what happened with Tabitha. The girls decide that they're going to take a lifeboat out into the middle of the ocean and scuba dive down to the bottom to put the necklace there. Yeah, that's certainly an idea. But also, if someone does find that necklace now, if it does wash up, which it probably will, they're going to know that you had it and that you were trying to hide it. So, but also the scuba diving thing is like, am I supposed to be serious about that? Like, actually, because that did make me laugh when I read it, but regardless. Are we shocked at what I'm about to say next? The plan doesn't work. The plan does not work because the lifeboat that they are on starts to deflate and they're kind of stuck in the middle of the ocean. However, someone does come to save them. Who is this person? Naomi, which seemingly kind of crosses her off the A suspect list, because like why would she help the girls if she was A? Let's be serious, you know what I mean? So after everyone is safe, Hannah confesses to Naomi that she was the one who crashed her cousin's car the night of the accident. She thought Naomi might have figured it out long ago, and that was her motive for being A. But it turns out that Naomi had no idea that Hannah was involved in the accident. So Hannah kind of confessed for not for no reason, that sounds very bad of me, but like, she, you know, tried to confess, to be all like, I'm so sorry, like, oh my god, so sorry. But actually she didn't really have to, because Naomi had no idea. So that also crosses her off the A suspect list, because there would be no motive for trying to get back at the girls, because the motive was Naomi's crash. So this seemingly cancels her out for being A at this point. So Naomi did reveal to Hannah that when Alison came back as Courtney, she called Naomi and asked her for help to take down the girls. Naomi turned it down because she thought it was far-fetched and ridiculous. So that kind of does shift things, really, because Naomi knew Alison's plan, but also if Naomi would have said yes, it complicates things much more. But yeah, I don't know. Naomi knowing the plan, kind of, or knowing that Alison kind of was alive and wanted to get back at the girls, is very interesting though. So a lot more people know than what kind of we're aware of at this point. So the girls then wonder if Tabitha's ex wasn't trying to hurt them, but actually was trying to tell them who was trying to hurt them. However, before the girls can talk to Tabitha's ex, there's an explosion and he's now in a coma. So that's very convenient, actually, for A. So it's perfect for A at this point, because we'll come back. We'll circle back to this. When the girls return to Rosewood, they think it's perfect time to confess what they did to Tabitha, to come clean, so that A couldn't kind of be on them anymore. There was no secrets. As they call the lead investigator in Tabitha's case, however, there's a news broadcast which shows that Tabitha's death was blunt force trauma to the head, not how they would have like pushed her off the cliff. So the girls then come to the conclusion that they didn't kill Tabitha, but A, in fact, did kill Tabitha. Dun dun dun, are we surprised? I knew as soon as the Tabitha thing happened that the girls were not responsible for it, because it's just like true Pretty Little Liars. I knew that there would be, you know, another person involved, at least, in this crime. The book ends with the girls deciding not to confess, obviously because they didn't do it, but then they come to the conclusion that Alison could have been A, or still could be A, and Emily confesses to leaving the door open for her in the place that they were staying. So Alison could have come in. So this book, less intense, still very much secrets being shown about the girls this summer, but also what happened to Tabitha and things like that. At this stage, no, I won't say actually, but I don't know. I'm not going to say. We'll come back. We will come back to it. So that is all of the books in Arc 3. Things are very, very intense at this stage. I really, really like how things are connecting. Tabitha, the whole thing's very interesting to me. Her stepmom, her stepdad being involved, and Naomi's involvement with Alison and things like that. I think it's so interesting, and I really, really like how things are connecting. I think you can kind of really see where things are going, and I kind of like how things actually make sense, and I'm not kind of like, you know, filling in plot holes and things like that. I really like a lot of the storylines in the books. I think they're very, very interesting. I'm really on board with so many of them. I really, really enjoyed them.
forgot to say too, I want to hear your A theories below right now. I obviously know who it is, so I can't say, you know what I mean? I'm not going to be like, oh, I think it's this person, because you guys will be like, oh, but you know. You know what I mean? Anyways, I would love to hear your A theories. So we've had Mona, we've had Alison. Wow. I wish the TV show was Alison. How fun would that have been? Oh my god, I swear to god, I'd never complain about Pretty Little Liars ever again in my life. I would. Why are we lying for? Because I will complain. But it comes out of love, because I love the show. You know what I mean? So like we could do so much better here, girls. Anyways, I'd also like to hear what storylines from the books you would include in the TV show. I would have loved the Tabitha thing. I think that's very interesting. I think it's very fun. It's very Bethany-esque, but like done good. You know what I mean? It's like, because now we know that A has killed Tabitha and not the girls, but we thought the girls had, because like there was this huge fight and they thought it was Alison, blah blah blah. So I don't know. I like the Tabitha thing. I do like the Tabitha thing. I obviously love Ezra not being in the story. I mean, he's there, but like barely, you know what I mean? And then I don't know who else. I don't know what else. Who else? What else? I don't care. Anyways, I would also, what would I like? I don't know. Just the Tabitha stuff I think is really cool. I also like how the liars in the books they do more bad things. I feel like in the show they were trying to be very careful, and they were obviously trying to make us like the liars, which is like so fair, whatever. But I like in the books that actually like they're not nice people. I tried to defend Hannah. I did try to defend Hannah, but sometimes it gets to a point. It gets to a point. It really, really does get to a point. Do you know what I mean? Anyways, I'm yapping now. I'm gonna go. I really hope you enjoyed. It took me very long to edit this, so I really hope you enjoyed. I've been here for 5 hours. 5 hours. Can you see? Oh my god, my drink. Look, 9 p.m. I've been here since 5 p.m. Anyways, I am actually going now. Bye. Bye.
So let me know your opinions down below regarding the books, the plots of the books, if you've obviously finished the books, what you think. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.